Hey lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video. This is going to be issue 26 Warhammer Combat Patrol. We get our Wraith Lord with this miniature. Now, I didn't notice that actually, it's got a moulded base. That's cool. Now, I'm going to have a look at this. Let's have a look at this in the review. And when it comes to being built, I want to try and do a little bit more of a dynamic pose. So we'll have a look and see if we can certainly cut the legs up a little bit so that we can reposition them. But come and join me on the desk and we'll have a look through. Hey lovelies. Right, issue 26 Warhammer Combat Patrol. We get our Wraith Lord. Now, let's pop that aside. File that on the floor for now. And here we go, Wraith Lord. Right, so how to build. So the torso and the hips and legs and the arms are all sort of like articulated. So there seems to be a certain amount of seems to be a certain amount of leeway and flexibility with regards to being able to dynamically pose this. So with that in mind, I'm going to try and pose this so that he's kind of like in a pose where he's got the sword held in his right hand and he's taking most of his weight on his right leg with his left leg stretched out in front of the toe pointing towards an attacker, and his left arm extended in the same direction as the left leg with the left foot and toes pointed in the same direction, and then the sword held kind of like beside the head and the head looking in the direction that he's going to attack. So I'm going to try that. The weapon mounts have pivots as well, so hopefully I should be able to pivot the gun to be looking in the same direction. And that's kind of what I'm going to go for. If I ever get another one of these, I'm going to try for a running pose and see how that goes. But obviously I need to work out this one first. So you're building up your torso, the upper torso. There's a neck plate essentially. This neck plate piece here goes on and then the head sits on that and swivels from side to side. Kind of hoping that's going to give me enough range of movement to be able to do that. There are various choices of feet. The legs go into the hip joint separately. Points to note that this looks like it's a considerably older kit, which is why the parts aren't numbered. And it is, in fact, 2006. So, yeah, none of the parts are numbered. The weapons look like they are exactly the same as you get with the Guardian Defenders kit. I might nip across and get the tray that I'm putting the parts in for the Guardian Defenders whilst I clip them out and clean them up, ready for building, and then just do a size comparison. Yeah, I'm not gonna have him just stood there. Let's give him some an action pose. See how that goes. You do get these little ribbons, tassels, whatever they are, to place onto your Wraith Lord. And again, because I think they're being, not Bealtan, but Simham, I forget. He's red. Okay, so there's runes on his back plate that can be painted as well, so that's cool. Work in progress, there you go. That is your Wraith Lord so far. Right, Spirit Stones. Spirit Stones are something unique to the Eldari. Spirit Stones capture and hold the souls of dead Eldari and are essential to the Asuryani way of life and death. Each living Eldari warrior goes into battle wearing a psycho-reactive crystal known as a Waystone. At the moment of the Eldari's death, the Waystone captures their soul as it exits their body, becoming a Spirit Stone. The Spirit Stone is then retrieved from the dead Eldari's body and taken back to the craft world. There the soul is added to the Infinity Circuit, ever present in the lives and civilizations of living Asuryani. If the souls need to be retrieved from the Infinity Circuit and placed into Ghost Warrior bodies, they are guided back into Spirit Stones by Spirit Seers ready to wage war against the enemies of the Asuryani once more. The true story of the origins of the Spirit Stones are lost in time, but Eldari legends tell the creation of the Spirit Stones from the tears of the gods Isha, goddess Isha. Val, the smith god, saw Isha weeping for her lost children, the Eldari. From Isha's tears, Val forged the first Spirit Stones that allowed her to watch over them. And again, with the issues around this having not been punched out properly. Right. So this is is this a Wraith Knight or one of their Titans? Sorry, Wraith Lord. Yeah, Wraith Knight, Titan. I do like their Titans. They do look very sleek. Right, so we have Beyond the Veil. The Immaterium is a fully fledged reality of its own, however bizarre it may seem to the inhabitants of the real space. But there are places where the warp breaks down and merges with the material universe, sometimes allowing passage into the Immaterium or allowing things within to escape. Eye of Terror, Maelstrom, the Prosperan Rift. The Prosperan Rift was the site of a war between the Grey Knights, a secretive and mystic chapter of Space Marines, and the Thousand Suns, a sorcerous band of Chaos Space Marines. Grey Knights were taken prisoner inside the rift and their tortured voices leached out into real space, igniting the conflict. Okay. We then have collecting for the Eldaris. Number 6, Wraith Lord. So you get a rolling chart here for background. Oh, come on, Hachette. Why is it that this time round these magazines are having these issues? Didn't really have this much of a problem with Stormbringer or Imperium. Then we have our data sheets. So 8-inch move, 11 toughness, 2 up save, 10 wounds, leadership 6+, and objective control is 3. Got a bright lance on this and shuriken catapult. And then a ghost glaive sword, which can strike and sweep. Big guns never tire. Because the Wraith Lord has the monster keyword, it can still shoot during the shooting phase, even if it is within engagement range of an enemy unit. It may target any enemy units within range of its weapons, including units that are within engagement range of it. However, if it does fire when the enemy units are within its engagement range, the player must subtract 1 from their hit rolls. You'll learn more about this when you receive the core rules. Scenario, Vanguard action. So, the Farseer has got further away, aided by the courageous Guardian warriors, but they are still in danger and the Tyranids keep swarming now. Now a mighty Wraith Lord steps onto the into the breach to fend off the advancing horde. Will the Wraith Lord or the Tyranids prevail? Both players deploy their units as shown below, with the Tyranids units. If any Tyranids units are destroyed, it respawns at its starting position during the Tyranids player's next command phase. The Tyranids player takes the first turn. If the Tyranids can destroy the Wraith Lord, the Tyranids win. If the Wraith Lord if the Wraith Lord is still alive at the end of 5 battle rounds, the Eldari player is the winner. So you're playing with your Winged Prime. You've got 5 Termagants there, and then you've got Von Ryan's Leapers and 5 Termagants here. Use Battle Mat 1. So we get examples turn by turn. And then Eldari, and then you have your victory outcomes for each, for Eldari victory or Tyranids victory. Then for the next 3 issues, 27, 28, 29, we are getting 6 Wind Riders. I do like the look of those, they're cool. I've got some Eldari Rangers, where they've got some of these jet bikes and they're doubled up. So you've got the pilot and then a passenger. Cool. Right. Come down. So as I said, this is a sculpt of 2006. And you can tell it's an older sculpt by the way it is spaced out on the sprue. Okay, they weren't digitally sculpting these things and then digitally mapping them onto the sprue. So we have our, these look like flamers, and these are the shuriken pistols. These look like flamers. There's your glaive, the sword. We get a piece of base scenery, and then these things here are, you've got a tabard that you can put on down to hang down the front, and then these little things can be hung off bits and pieces. Let's have a look at the weapons. here's our multi-barreled blaster, and yeah, it's basically the same. There are some subtle changes to it, but essentially it's the same, with the fitting in the same place. And again, same. And this one, basically the same. There are some subtle differences between them, but they are pretty much the same weapon and same size. So again, same there. And then the last one is this thing. And again, same size. The mounting bracket is in the same position. So yeah, there you go. Now you've got, obviously you've only got 2 legs, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 arms. 4 arms? Yeah, 4 arms. And you got 4 feet essentially. 2 that are just flat, and then 2 that are creased at the toes, so that the heel, you can give it a bit of motion as if it's striding across the battlefield or running, depending on what you want to do. And then you've got the torso here. There's your backpack, the runes on the backpack there. You've got 4 hands, and then you've got this trigger mount, which I'm assuming means that you can, if you so wish, glue some of these weapons to that hand so that it's holding the weapon. Instead of being shoulder mounted, the weapon can be held in the hand and carried like a rifle, I suppose. Here's your hips, the head. That and that are the head, and this is basically the neck plate. So there's a little tab and hole, and then your headpiece is going to swivel around that flat pin basically. Yeah, so I think I can give it a dynamic pose without it needing me to trim the knees, which would be the first port of call if I was to do anything to these. And hopefully I can get it into the pose that I want. But yeah, come and join me and we'll give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? Right, okay. Right, lovelies. Let's build a Wraith Knight. I'm going to build the torso up in regards to like the first major steps. I'm not going to put the veins on the back at this point, simply because I want to be able to move this about and manhandle it, as it were, without worrying that I'm going to break something. So we need to just try and get things aligned nicely. Right, let's that's going to go on there. So there's your torso, the main torso assembly. You've also got this neck piece, which I'm going to glue on. Like so. Head. So just when you put this together, make sure you get this pinhole faces the bottom, because that is the thing that will connect. So that will, it'll go on there, and that will give me the positioning for the head. Right, so here's the difficult bit. I need to do these. Now, essentially the feet are going to be aligned, more or less, and they're going to be at kind of right angles. So the back leg will be there. So just want to make sure that I am getting this round the right way. That's going to go in there like so. Yeah. Right, so do you know what? I actually think it's going to be easier for me to glue the feet into position, because then I've got something stable. To work from. And that's kind of the positioning that I want to go for. Then we'll have a leg in there, and then obviously that leg in there. And then we'll get the hips into position as well. Now, if I'm clever about this and load up the socket joints on the where the hips go into position with glue, like that, then that's the front, so that's going to be facing that way. So that leg there is going to go in like so, and then this leg is going to go there, I think. just need to turn that just a touch, like so. And I think that will be the position we go with. I'd like for that to be a bigger base to give me a much wider stance, but I think that's what we're going to go with. And then we need to just let that dry for a spell. So come back once that's dried and we'll work on it. Right, okay, apologies, I got ahead of myself and forgot to press record again. So anyway, what I've done is I have glued the torso to the hip joint and the abdomen area, and I've just glued on the arm that's going to hold the sword, which will hold it in this position, sort of thing. What I've done is I've just taken out of this socket joint here, I've just scooped out the back. The reason I've done that is I want it to sit slightly better in this socket joint, like so. I'm going to add in some glue just to the edge of the shoulder armour there. So that's kind of the pose I'm going for. And what I'm going to do is the head's going to go on, and it'll be kind of like that, and then the sword will be there, like so. I'm not entirely happy with the pose, but this is the first Wraith Lord I've ever done, so yeah, I think there's the potential for some things to go wrong here. I do wish that this base was slightly bigger. If it had a slightly bigger base, I could extend the legs out a bit more, and I think I'd be happier then. But yeah, let's glue this sword on. And that's the position that that's going to go in. I may need to find something to prop it up with, because I don't want it drooping. I may not stick the head down just yet. Oh, let's put this mage hand. Oh, look at that. Mage hand comes to the rescue. Right, so that can just stay there for the time being. Right, so we've got some other bits and pieces that I need to stick on. These veins that are at the back. So I'm going to just trim those out now. Like that. And then we got, I think it's these shuriken pistols that are part of it. They're going to go on the arms. And then I want this tabard. And we have some hip plates, hip armour plates to go at the top of the thighs. And then there's this little thing which is going to go in the front, his codpiece. And then we need, we'll need one of these pieces here to mount the shoulder cannon onto. And yeah, so come back once I've cleaned up everything else and that's set and gone off nicely. Come back and we'll finish building it. Let's get rid of the mage hand now that it's served its purpose. Right, here we go. So we got our shuriken pistols or repeaters or whatever they are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the veins. I've already done one side. So the veins are going to go in like that. Oh, excuse me. And again, I've already done one side for these shuriken catapults or whatever they are. So that's going on. Hip armour. Already done one side, so just this side to do. Like that. The tabard is, I'm going to stick it on there. It doesn't really attach. I thought it was going to attach to this. There might have been something on the inside, but there isn't. So what you could do is probably attach it like so, if you so wished. I think I'm going to do that. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to attach it like that. Let that go off. Right, and then we've got the Bright Lance, which is the weapon system. And and then I'm actually going to attach that like so. Mage hand isn't quite big enough on that occasion. Right, and then your codpiece and the tabard are going to get attached there. is a pin, so it should attach like so, and that is my Wraith Knight, my Wraith Lord, even not Wraith Knight, Wraith Lord. That's how I'm going to go with it, I think. Yeah, I think that's how I'm gonna go, how I'm gonna roll with this guy. I don't know if I'm gonna put some ribbons on. Probably not. I think I'll just keep it like this for now. Yeah, so I think the hardest part was making sure that the legs and the hips were in the right position in order to get the pose that I wanted. But that's the pose I wanted, kind of like, you know, outstretched hand with his sword ready to strike sort of thing, like so. Just turn the bright lance slightly. Hopefully that won't flicker back. But there you go. That was it. Right. I'll see you in the next video. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.